Glad you could join us. Now, we begin here in Accra because Deputy Minister of Roads and Highways, who is also Member of Parliament for Laura, Anthony Abaifa Karbo, has been invited by the police CID to answer questions bordering on charges leveled against the president of the Ghana Football Association, Nyantakyi, for allegedly defrauding by false pretense. Mr. Nyantakyi is currently on police bail after President Akufo-Addo lodged a complaint against him, leading to his arrest and bail yesterday. The latest Anas expose on the GFA is believed to have indicted the GFA boss in a corruption scandal detailed in that expose. Now, that is scheduled for public viewing on the 6th of May. But what role has Anthony Karbo played in all of this? Head of Joy News political desk, Evans Mensah, joins me in studio with more. Evans, so what do we know now?
So we know he is at the CID headquarters right now with his lawyers, either there on his way. It's been more than an hour since this story broke, so I'm expecting him to be there by now, and they're going to be interrogated relating to the allegations made on the Anas investigative video. Fundamentally, on that video, now we know it's about 5 minutes or so that the president and his team watched that had to do directly with him. That's where his name was mentioned. Mr. Nyantakyi is alleged on this particular video to have stated that, in essence, Anthony Abaifa Karbo, who is a current deputy roads minister, sort of is a chief facilitator between himself and the government, and money should be given to him, Nyantakyi, for onward submission to Mr. Abaifa Karbo, who in essence will facilitate dealings between these would-be investors and the government. That is the basis of the CID action today, essentially inviting the Deputy Transport Minister in as they broaden their investigations into this matter, so that he can also answer questions about what he knows about and why his name had popped up, mentioned by Mr. Nyantakyi, and that is why the interrogation is currently happening at the CID headquarters regarding that.
Great. Do we know if it's possible that Mr. Karbo himself could be a subject of investigation?
He's a subject of investigations, formally now. He is. He's a suspect in the matter currently.
Right.
And so what we don't know is whether he's going to be charged formally, as Nyantakyi has been. Nyantakyi has been charged last night after some back and forth. I mean, my sources close to Mr. Nyantakyi and the CID confirmed that yesterday they were back and forth about what to charge him with, even whether to grant him bail. It was only late last night, around after 9 p.m., before a conclusion was reached to let him go, but also to charge him formally. For now, and I must emphasize that, for now, with defrauding by false pretense. In fact, the indication we have gotten last night is, as this travel and as investigations expand, and which we're now seeing play out this morning, those charges might change. We don't know whether those charges would also apply to Anthony Abaifa Karbo, or he's simply being brought in to assist with investigations. And that's something I'm pretty sure that we'll get to know as investigations unfold.
But I'll come back to you on the other options, because you discussed those with the Deputy Chief of Staff, Samuel Abujinapo, when you spoke with him a couple of days back. But let's run a quick check at the police CID headquarters to see whether Mr. Karbo has reported already, as you've heard Evans say there. Now, my colleague, Kwesi Parker-Wilson, is at the CID headquarters and has joined us on the phone with more. Parker, good afternoon. What can you report from the CID headquarters?
Well, Daniel, I can say that I am monitoring two events at the moment, Nyantakyi and Deputy Minister for Roads and Highways, Anthony Karbo, who has also been invited by the President, by the CID, and the CID, or the police administration itself, is also organizing a press conference. Let me give you a brief of what the administration has been saying as far as the press conference is concerned. The police has been able to give us statistics of crime rates in the country, across the country, from Greater Accra, the 10 regions in the country, let me put it that way. Now, they are telling us that they've reduced crime rate, armed robbery, petty thievery, everything associated with crime, they have been able to reduce it. And this is as a result of their prudent measures that put in place by the police administration.
Right.
Because in times past, you know, that the military will be attacked in the country, and they say that that's going to reduce. Now, let me just move on to Anthony Karbo and that of Nyantakyi. Now, my source at the police, at the CID, tells me that this morning they were in contact, or they reached the minister, and he agreed that he was going to honor their invitation. In fact, he said that he was going to come to the CID to assist them with investigation. But as it stands at the moment, he's yet to honor that invitation. He's not here at the moment. They are waiting for him to get here so that they can quiz him and then take a statement on, his name, which was mentioned in the expose.
Is it solely a matter of the fact that his name was mentioned by Mr. Nyantakyi, and based on that, do we know if the police would be charging him, Mr. Karbo himself?
Yes, I cannot independently verify that, but I do understand that since he has been mentioned, definitely some charges will be pressed against him, because now he will be going under some investigation. And before you are being investigated, of course, the police should know why they are investigating. So definitely some charges will be pressed against him.
Right. Do the police have any reason to doubt if Mr. Karbo would come to the CID headquarters for the questioning?
Well, my source tells me that they don't have any reason to doubt that he is going to come to the CID headquarters, because when they spoke to him this morning, he was he was cooperated, and clearly it meant that he was going to submit himself to the CID for further question.
Kwesi Bakar-Wilson, thank you so much for that report. He is currently at the CID headquarters of the police, and we will come back to you as soon as we know that Anthony Karbo has arrived. We stay with this story because a major concern coming up since the news broke is the credibility of the case and whether it will stand in court. Legal practitioner Samson Ladi Ayenini, in an interview with my colleague Ejolai, hints if it is proven that the crime purported to have been committed in the Anas video did not take place anywhere in Ghana, then there's very little to expect of the future of this case.
Who has been defrauded? That's the question to be answered. Who is the complainant? Who has gone to the police to complain that Kwesi Nyantakyi has defrauded them? And of how much? How did that person give the money? Or the consideration that has gone out? How did the person give it? How do you trace to confirm that that money or consideration has in fact been given to Kwesi Nyantakyi, and that the thing he promised to do, he was unable to do it? Or if it's not Nyantakyi, who else is it that was to receive the money that has received it? And what is the evidence of the money that was given out? That is where I say the next hurdle will be, if you can't prove all of that, you must show that something had been done. So show it. Where is the evidence of an attempt to take the money or receive the money, and so on and so forth? Another point is that since you are not establishing who gave money and who says has been defrauded, you need to also show where did the particular crime you are alleging take place. Did it take place on Ghanaian soil? If it took place within the territory of Ghana, then the law is that is very simple to deal with, because the criminal jurisdiction of our courts is territorial and it's within the territory of Ghana. And the law says either it happened within Ghana, or within Ghana's airspace, or within Ghana's territorial waters, or it was committed in a ship or an airplane that is registered or licensed in Ghana, or you were on the Ghanaian embassy in the other country if it was committed outside of the country, or you are in public service, you are a servant of the Republic of Ghana, and you found yourself outside of Ghana and you committed an offense, which is an offense where you went and an offense in Ghana.
Now, we stay with this issue still because Parliament is raising issues with the breach of the privileges of members of Parliament with the CID invitation of Anthony Karbo over the matter. Elton Brobe joins me on the phone with more from Parliament. Now, Elton, what exactly are the concerns of the members of Parliament on Karbo's invitation?
Right, so first, the application was made on the floor by two members of Parliament, the Member of Parliament for Kumpunku, Ras Mubarak, the Member of Parliament for Adaklu, Kwame Abuja Govins, and then later supported by the Deputy Majority Whip, Matthew Nyimdam. They wanted to know from the Second Deputy Speaker of Parliament, Al-Vaben, whether the Speaker's office was served with permission to allow the CID interrogate Karbo in this announced, corruption today, which is yet to be viewed, because media reports have suggested that Abayomi Karbo was on his way to the CID in the morning to answer questions relating to his involvement in the issues surrounding the GFF president, Mr. Nyantakyi. Members drew the Speaker's attention to Standing Order 21 and 22, which says that no civil or criminal proceedings shall be instituted against a member of Parliament in any court or place out of Parliament for any matter or sin brought by him or before Parliament by way of petition, bill, motion, or otherwise. But clearly, they wanted to know whether the Speaker sanctioned any such move by the CID. And the Speaker's response was to the fact that he has checked with the Speaker of Parliament, who is out of the country, and the First Deputy Speaker, and no such notification came to them from the CID. But he was quick to add that members of Parliament are not above the law, but however, the convention or the constitutional provision grants them some immunity from some of these things. So if the CID did not seek the permission of the Speaker, that will amount to, breaches of the privileges of members of Parliament. But later we're told that even though Mr. Karbo has been notified, the official appearance of him before the CID is scheduled for next week, Tuesday. But the call to the CID is that the proper thing must be done. That came from the Speaker. But if you want to invite any member of Parliament, you must first seek permission from the Speaker before that can be done. If that is not done, it will amount to, breaches of the privilege of the member of Parliament, and that particular institution can be called before Parliament to answer for, violating the privileges of a member of Parliament.
Right. Elton, so from what you're saying, Mr. Karbo is expected to appear before the CID next week, Tuesday.
Indeed, yes. That information was provided for by the Second Deputy Speaker of Parliament, Matthew Nyimdam, after the Speaker had actually given his ruling that the CID must first write to the Speaker's office to seek permission before inviting Mr. Karbo. It was at this juncture that Matthew Nyimdam told the House that even though information had gone to Karbo about his possible appearance before the CID, that particular appearance will take place next week, Tuesday.
Right. So you are speaking of Matthew Nyimdam, the Majority Chief Whip?
Absolutely.
Now, did he give any indication as to the whereabouts of Mr. Karbo?
No such information came forth. I mean, it will be difficult for
for
the leadership to account for the location of their members.
Right. Yeah. Finally, we understand Haruna Idrisu has been speaking about this, the minority leader of Parliament.
Come again,
yes, I was asking that we understand Haruna Idrisu, minority leader of Parliament, has been speaking on the matter.
Well, unfortunately, the leadership of Parliament are not in the House at the moment. Almost all of them are in Kumasi for a funeral. I understand that some of them have been speaking to the media, but not on the floor. As far as this particular matter is concerned, what we know is what I've just told you, that for now, the leadership and the Speaker's office is awaiting formal, requests from the police, asking for permission for them to interrogate Mr. Karbo. Once that is done, they would uphold the privileges accorded a member of Parliament enshrined in the 1992 Constitution and the standing orders of the House.
Thank you very much, Elton Brobe, for that update. Still watching Joy News today. Let's move on to other stories now, because a vigilante group in Kumasi known as Seidu Kotoko today marched on the police station at Siame in the Ashanti region capital. The young men say the police shot and killed one of their members on Wednesday at Amanfrom. They were therefore demanding answers from the police commander at the station. So you just saw those young men there demanding answers from the police officers. You heard one of them say repeatedly that they just want to see the police commander. So they were asking for the commander at that station to come out and answer to their questions. Now, they attempted to beat a policeman in the process, but their leader prevented them from doing so. And aside from this, armed men from the Joint Military and Police Force Operation Calm Life are on hand to restore sanity to the situation. But Love FM's Erastus Asaridonko reports the situation is still quite tense. He joins me on the line now with more. Erastus, what is happening now?
Well, currently, as we speak, the youth from Abuabo have dispersed, and before they went away, they had a meeting. They held a meeting with the led by the divisional commander for Swami. And we were not allowed to be part of the meeting. After the meeting, the leader, Edu Abubakar, told us that the police had requested that they take the body of their relatives away from Burial. They insisted that no, they will not take the body away. They are rejecting the body. They are giving it to the police. They want them to conduct due process and investigations. They want justice. They want to know why he was killed. And so they angrily left the police station. But what they are telling us is that if they do not get justice, then they will get their own justice.
Yes, Erastus, if you can hear me, reposition yourself. We can hardly hear you. Now, earlier, you were mentioning how the youth leadership are currently... Yeah, it can get better. It can get better. I was saying that, directing you to the point that you made, that the police leadership are currently in a meeting with the leadership of the youth group.
Yes, early on, they held a meeting between the Abuabo youth and the divisional police commander, plus some security operatives as well. And after the meeting, we are learning from the leader of the group, Seidu Abubakar, that they were asked by the police to initially take the body of their relative away for burial. But they have rejected that idea. They are saying that they will not take the body away. They are rejecting it. They are leaving it in the care of the police. They want them to conduct proper investigations and tell them why they gunned their relative down. And if they do not get any information, then they will get their own justice.
Okay, so that's how that meeting ended. Did they say what the police said in terms of the response to this request?
Well, that's what they're saying, that the police did not give them any substantial answer.
Okay.
What they're saying is that they should take the body away, but they have rejected it, so they stormed out of the meeting. But they will be...
So the meeting was inconclusive? The meeting was inconclusive?
I must say so.
But tell us about the incidents that led to this particular altercation, this alleged shooting and killing of one of their members. You understand it happened last night?
Yes, what we do know from sources within the police is that they conducted a swoop at Amanfrom on the Barakesi Road, and they were chasing some weed peddlers and weed smokers. They ran into the bush, and upon entering the town, they saw this gentleman sleeping on a motorbike. But according to our sources, this is a huge guy, a well-built gentleman. So when he woke up suddenly from his slumber on the motorbike, the police shot him. The policeman shot him in the chest and in the wrist, and then shot him again in the legs as well. But we have not heard from the police officially what their stand is on this particular story that we are getting from our sources.
Right. Erastus, finally, tell us about this group, Seidu Kotoko. What group is it?
Well, this is a known, well-built gentleman, known very well in Kumasi, very strong indeed. I have several boys. He is normally seen in the company or as a bodyguard, if I should put it that way, to many of the ruling government personalities, I must say. So that is what we know him to be.
Right. Thank you very much, Erastus Tasari. Don't call he's a man in Kumasi. You're still watching Joy News today. You want to stay with us because Herbal Manufacturers Association of Ghana is threatening to sue the Food and Drugs Authority over what it says is unfair treatment by the FDA, which they say is affecting the patronage of their products. And coming up in business, we'll take you live to the Joy Business Health and Wellness Trade Show, which is underway as the Accra Digital Center for answers to all your health needs. Still watching Joy News today. Stay with us. We'll take these important messages. We'll be right back. Thanks for staying with us. Now, the Herbal Manufacturers Association of Ghana is threatening to sue the Food and Drugs Authority over what it says is unfair treatment of its members. Members accuse the authority of calling their products off the market without listening to them despite persistent appeals, and follows a public alert by the regulator cautioning people against purchasing of about 6 herbal products for alleged adulteration. Nana Aljima reports.
The FDA says the medicinal drugs have been lined with sildenafil, synthetic pharmaceutical ingredient of prescription-only medicine for treatment of erectile dysfunction. Some affected manufacturers, however, say the authorities' refusal to consult them with its findings is unfair. Herbal products cited for adulteration scam include Figura capsules, Osumpa natural capsules, X Plus Men Power Bitter syrup, and Enidasu Goodman capsules. Others are Lord P capsules and Time Herbal natural capsules, all of which have been ordered off the market by FDA. Officials say taking sildenafil and any other prescription-only medicine without advice of a medical practitioner may have serious and life-threatening health implications. Besides, the products have not been duly registered. The Herbal Manufacturers Association of Ghana claims its investigations reveal one of the affected products has been duly registered. Leaders of the association also dispute it contains sildenafil being alleged by the authority. They want the FDA to make its investigation finding on Time Natural Herbal Capsule public and further subject it to independent investigations. Chairman of the association, Solomon Kwabi, says the FDA is making attempts they believe are calculated to collapse businesses of herbal medicine manufacturers.
You said you suspect, which we don't believe and don't subscribe, that you suspect a foreign component in the products. This happen to be sildenafil. Bring the primary results. Let us also see the chromatogram and the peaks. Let us also take it to a different laboratory, be it in Ghana or overseas, and also go and do a comprehensive check on the product to affirm and confirm whether what you are saying is true or not. And this is lacking. This is just lacking. The man has spent a lot on advertisement. We spend a lot on advertisement. And all what you hear is that out of the blue, somebody come and put just bar under there and destroys everything. This affects the integrity of the entire herbal fraternity. It's affecting our product sales. It's condemning Ghanaian industries. And we believe this thing must stop. Herbal medicine also happens to be part of an agribusiness. And the government is doing so well, trying all kinds of means to get Ghanaians employed. This time we are ready.
Meanwhile, producers of Time Herbal capsules, Kenoga Company, says the FDA's statement has affected its operations. Kennedy Osu Ajaman is Chief Executive Officer.
They couldn't even write official letter to us or even invited us to their premises for us to go and say the side of our issue. We just heard the information on the media platform that we have added something into our product. Maybe in case someone hear that we have added some maybe chemical into your product, they will get some bad intention about all of your products. Meanwhile, the information is not true.
Meanwhile, the FDA in the Ashanti region has admitted its publication, suggesting the product is unregistered wrong and has since been withdrawn. Regional Director Nora Nakitelabi, however, says the authority stands by its position it contains sildenafil.
Our laboratory is an ISO and ISO certified laboratory. Our laboratory brings out certified results that have been certified by the international community. Therefore, there's no reason, we will not pick up on one client, and that is our client. We regulate them. We know the company. We have worked with the company over the years. We will not have any particular interest to say that this particular company, if we didn't find the sildenafil, which should not be there, or which should not be in their product, if we didn't find it in the product, we don't have any reason to say it was in the product. And so FDA, as of now, we do stand by our publication.
Nanaya Ojima reporting.
Now moving on, family of 21-year-old woman who died with her triplets following alleged negligence on the part of nurses at the Eastern Regional Hospital in Defrauding is appealing for legal aid. Spouse of the deceased, Samuel Mauli, who is bent on taking legal action against the hospital, says he has no money to hire a lawyer. Kofi Siao has been speaking with him and has come through with this report.
According to her family, was first admitted at the Suhum Government Hospital last Thursday while in labor. But due to her condition, she was referred to the regional hospital in Koforidua for further examination. Health professionals there were said to have administered oxygen and intravenous infusion on her. His husband, Samuel Mauli, says his sister, who was with her at the hospital, accused nurses of negligence. He says they failed to attend to the late Priska when her condition became worse. According to him, she was rushed to the theater to undergo an operation after she fell from her bed and bled profusely.
My sister, through my sister's story, or what she witnessed, she went to see my wife on the bed, and she was complaining about pain. So he went out to inform the nurses about it, and the nurses responded to her that, "Are you a doctor?" Whilst they were chatting, others were looking at the watching TV at the ward. So she went back to see my wife lying on the floor, and blood was flowing along his arm. Meanwhile, where they put the drip, and she was she took what you call a toilet roll to clean her.
Mauli told me his wife, Priska, was pronounced dead after delivering triplets who also died instantly.
So I called my sister to go and see the kids. My sister went there to see what is there. And all what my sister told me is that the kids are no more.
Family of the deceased, according to Mauli, has objected to an autopsy the hospital has promised to fund because they suspect a compromise.
Left there and I called my wife's relatives, the family. I told them about the matter. They told me they should not do the postmortem, neither to tie them.